This is the Ask Faleskini podcast, where the modern economy is discussed from a skeptic's perspective. Mr. Faleskini helps you distinguish what is sustainable in our economy and what isn't. Not everything that glitters is gold, and not all mud is dirty. The podcaster Mr. Faleskini provides no-nonsense advice. He had it all, lost it all, went bankrupt multiple times, and is now attempting to come back from zero with sustainable growth. There are numerous coaches and preachers on the internet that preach about positive thinking and how life is all roses if you just care to see it that way. Well, Mr. Faleskini is definitely not one of them. We recommend you ask Faleskini to keep it real. He discusses the darker side of the current economic reality, the side that's more important for your personal and business finance. His first intention is to help you keep what you already have. Not to be a complete party pooper, Mr. Faleskini will also hint at the earning opportunities in the economy today. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please like, share, and subscribe. And now it's time to start taking notes. The mic goes to the podcaster, the one and only Mr. Faleskini.
Welcome to the Ask Faleskini podcast with a guest. I'm proud to present Ramona Khodakarami from Hungary. Ramona is a business strategist and a mentor who helps scale up businesses and some specific startups. Ramona, please tell us more about yourself. What is your story?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the introduction. I'm super excited to be here and dive deeper and to be in the podcast. So, well, my story is, it's a very interesting journey. I think this is how we connected. I always thought I'm going to be in business, but at the beginning, I didn't know what it's going to be about. And I just knew that I want to be an entrepreneur. I really like the idea of you leading yourself towards something you want to do. And later on, I could discover, I think since I was 14, that was when the idea came to my head. And after that, I was searching for ways, how could I understand more about people? So I was focusing a lot about social human behavior and then business and how you can grow a business.
Really nice. And how did you become a strategist? We all imagine, when we hear strategist, we imagine someone mature and senior with 50 years of experiences, or someone that knows really a lot about the theory of strategy and strategize. So I know you are not that old. So how did you manage to become a leading strategist in your field? And how did your entrepreneurial journey bring you to the mentorship and coaching business?
Well, that's a very good question, because many people do not ask this question. And so I started, when I was 14, I started with market research, and I realized I just really like connecting with people, and people like connecting with me too. And I was like, wow, this is something I could utilize on. So it really started with market research, understanding people and discovering, going out and asking for feedback about specific product and services. So later, when I was 20 years old, I got into a business. I was working with a multinational telecommunication company, but I already felt that I don't want to work in retail. I want to work with businesses, and quickly became in the region one of the top salesperson. And then I got people who I could mentor. So my mentoring journey started quite early. I started to mentor candidates and then teams, and then I changed my field because, as a millennial, usually we want to do something bigger, or we want to contribute to the company, but they do not appreciate our work. So although I was hitting the quotas, I had my numbers also I was doing the shop management and I was responsible for it. I was hitting the numbers, it was not enough. So not for me, but for my boss. So I started to discover more about marketing, because that's how you get people right in front of your door. So, and then I was like, I cannot just stick with marketing, because it's the marketing, area is very crowded. And I quickly realized not many people actually doing, deep work, like understanding who your customers are. So I really wanted to dive deeper. And wherever I joined, I could oversee the processes quickly, what's working, what's not, how things could be improved. So I think that was my special skill from the beginning, that I could, I had the vision, and also I could quickly see processes because I have an analytical mind.
Very nice. I would like to ask you two questions, basically. First would be, you started with marketing, so with sales, going into B2B, then marketing, and then in process improvement. How do you see marketing as integral part of business processes? I do believe that many people have problem communicating with marketing people because they have, or a lot of them go in two directions. Either they have full vision of a company, they understand all the process and everything, or they just have a how-to trick that they would like to implement with your company. So how did you end up to go into the processes and process improvement, and probably also process maturity models? How did that came about, and how did knowledge from marketing, and you also mentioned human behavior knowledge, helped you in improving processes in companies?
So I can recall a specific event in my life when I was 10 years old, sitting with my great-grandmother in an event, and she was always going for these product shows that, they gather all the old people into one area and they sell them, specific products. And I was always wondering what makes people to move, because she was obsessed with these products. I was going there to understand and, to discover the world. So I had no specific reason other than curiosity. But she was always going for these products to buy them and for these shows. And that was my deepest motivations for what makes people to move from a very young age. And about marketing, I always try to recall when I was working in different, positions and how I interacted with people. So when I did market research at the very beginning, it comes with people. I was also partially, I was working with a multinational company, but it was more like a contractor hiring me for doing the market research. So it really starts with people. So, and that was my interest, right? So in marketing, many people miss this part, and they try to present their product and services that it starts with me and my product and my company. And they miss this connection and this perspective that it starts with the people who you are selling to.
So you propose a market-driven approach, and knowing what market needs, and then creating a product that will satisfy that market niche.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so I would like, because you're a strategist, I would like to know your opinion or your take on strategy versus tactics. How would you define strategies, and how would you define tactics, and when, in what cases should one or another be employed?
So strategy helps you. So if you have a challenge, let's say you don't have a goal or you don't know what to do. So let's start there. If you don't know, because usually it happens with so many times with businesses that, they are stuck, they are stagnant, although they have, a business plan, maybe they have a strategy, but it just, they don't feel, the implementation of it. Many times people feel even strategies with the implementation part. So if you have a strategy and you don't implement it, one of the reasons could be that because you are not implementing, you are not taking action on the strategy, that's why it's not working. So, but let's say you don't have a strategy, you don't know what to do, you are stuck where you are. So strategy helps you gives you a direction. It helps you to understand where you need to go, what you need to do. So business plan usually for a startup built for maximum 5 years. A strategy would be a much more flexible way of telling you what steps you need to take within, let's say, 12 months period, or broken down into 4 quarters, because when you see 1 year and you want to reach your goal, you would see 1 year, and 1 year has 4 quarters exactly. So a strategy helps you to gives you direction, what you can do in the next year, for example, or what you didn't accomplish this year.
Okay. In my times, strategy was something that has to do with do or die of the company. Strategic things were just things that are important for survival of the company. So they were the most important, or the highest tier that you had to plan first. I would also like to have your opinion on the following. A lot of people spend a lot of time and money and energy on creating perfect strategy. And then they do not execute this strategy. It seems like they lose all their energy creating strategy. How can people avoid that mistake? And how should they go about strategy? And when should they start just executing everything?
I love this question, because it's indeed, this is what drives a company, and this is what you need also your teammates and your employees to follow. Without following a strategy, you cannot reach your goals. And one of the reasons that people fail to implement strategies is because they are not connected with the goal. They don't have the vision for what they really want to achieve. And that everything starts with a vision. Every accomplishment in your life starts with the vision you have and the goals. Because if you set up a goal, you set it up probably very high. You have big dreams if you are a business owner, right? Because people do not dream of leadership who are never meant to be leaders. It just doesn't cross their mind. So when you put your dreams up here, you need to lower it with a strategy by reaching those steps. So you put your dreams in a horizontal line, so you will be able to see, and implementing the strategy, you can reach that goal and you can complete the strategy.
Thank you for this insight. I would like to ask you a following two stuff. So, connection with the goal. How can entrepreneurs achieve that his or her employees will get somehow connected with the company's goal? What is the best way to help employee connect with the company's goal?
So that starts from the very beginning when you are hiring, right? There is a saying: hire slow, fire fast. And that's when you are hiring, you need to ask those questions. And you also need to communicate your vision throughoutly. That has to be implemented within the strategy. That has to be, communicated in a way that people understand that this is the goal that we are all driving towards to. Because if you are hiring someone that has a totally different plan than you, it's very less likely that person is going to enjoy working with you, doing the things that you are asking them to do, right? Their position, to fulfill their position. And also to go that extra mile, because there are certain things, like in customer service, you need to go that extra mile for your customers if you want to be different in the market.
Thank you. I would like to ask you about, I think, dilemma a lot of entrepreneurs face. Not all people are highly motivated. And right now there are shortages in certain areas that, or markets that we just cannot overcome, even with the global market, and even if we increase paychecks a lot. we cannot overcome all the shortages. So when should an entrepreneur hire wrong people for the job, and when should the entrepreneur just give up on the project that they are doing if the people are not the exact match to his vision and they do not understand his strategy?
So that's an interesting question. If you are an entrepreneur and you have a goal that you want to achieve, you have a vision for your desires, that why you want to make a change in the marketplace or to create a better future for a group of people, then you should never give up on your goal. And there are always people who you can find who's actually aligned with the goals that you are about to achieve. There are always people. You just need to. It actually starts with the perspective you have about people. And we don't grow up with this. It's something we all have to learn. So if you want to see more positive things in life, you have to do gratefulness. You have to think about more positive things other than negative things, because the things you think about is going to be in front of you, and this is what you will see. And it actually changes over time, but it takes time and patience. So every time you realize that you have, negative thoughts, you just go back to the positive, and then your reality is actually going to change.
Yeah, I really like that. And I would like to ask you regarding strategies. How important is the tangible goals and objectives that we set for our strategy, and how important are the intangibles? Like finding the right people is intangible. How important are these, let's say, intangibles to contribution to overall success of a certain strategy?
So if you are a person who's open for leadership, improving your leadership skills, then you understand how people are important. So people, you actually do marketing with every people you connect with your teammates, with clients, with even on a networking meeting. So every single time when you go out and meet someone, you actually do marketing for your own business. So that's very important, that how do you lead by example around the people you are surrounded with. So people are very, very important.
Okay, but how important is the tangible part of a strategy in comparison with intangible part of the strategy?
So when you see that who's actually needs to do the work for the things that you are delegating to are going to be the people, right? Your teammates. So that's very important, because you want to get those jobs done. You can hire people who just simply, good for the position.
Yeah, we have either motivation or we can scare people and threat them. So that are both tools we can use when we want to execute strategy. So how important is the intangible part of the strategy to convey to people in order to, let's say, positively motivate them, not with punishment, but possibly with reward, and also not just tangible rewards like higher paycheck, but rewards like we are contributing something to our environment, we are contributing something to our society. How important is this part of the strategy?
Oh, thank you so much for clarifying that. So you definitely want to build a system where you are rewarding people for their contribution, because if you just simply see the system what we grew up in, like in the school, right? When you accomplished your grades or something, you always got rewarded either with bad grades or good grades. So you don't want to do too much punishment in terms of negativity. So it's the matter of perspective. So you want to promote the positive things, because that's the way you want to go towards you. So you can do their team building activities to also bring the team together. You can do rewards in sales. You can do commission. You can build up different level of commissions for driving the entire sales team for always higher growth and reaching the goals.
Okay. You talked so much about people, and let's touch modern people that hate being around people and that are more and more lonely wolves, especially with all social media and everything distancing us from each other. And now more and more entrepreneurs start to use artificial intelligence, other tools like outsourcing, automation, and optimization in order to completely avoid working with people. Is strategy effective if it does not involve any other person than the entrepreneur?
I'm personally not worried about that too much, because if you see, for example, content writing AI processes, it's not perfect. If you have copywriting experience in a professional level, you can use it. You can catch things from it if you feel that you have writer's block, but it's not going to take over your years of professional writing, for example. So in strategy, probably there is something out there that's going to help you quickly craft something, but how well a computer can actually identify all the things that's involved in your business, we can tell.
Yeah, the question was meant to be a bit different.
Okay.
You explained how strategy is so important for every person in the company to come on board with the vision of the owner. And now there are new companies that do not include people, and they tend to include just artificial intelligence and machines. So how important is or will be strategy in a world when less and less people are used and some businesses do not employ even one person? So how important is strategy for these businesses, and how important will strategy be in the future? What will it help achieve the businesses that do not work or employ services of people?
So that's an interesting question, because if you see Amazon, right, they are doing more and more. They are trying to exclude people from different, areas because it becomes cheaper. So in the long term viewpoint, it becomes cheaper to put machines and AI to replace humanity. There are certain level of positions that's not going to be replaced, at least for a while, that's for sure. One thing about business is that this is a general nature of business, which is constant growth. If you are not growing your company, you cannot survive. If Amazon stop growing the way they are trying to, because you have to cost completely, you have to reduce cost constantly, you have to reduce cost constantly, and you have to improve things in order to grow continually. So this is one way that how companies are trying to cut their cost in the long term and replace people.
But when they replace people, how important is to have strategy? Because strategy is meant to help people navigate. So we need a strategy when we work just with computers and robots.
Also, reducing cost and making, implementing and making things better starts with the strategy. So strategy has to be there, and there has to be people who actually make things happen. So strategy is not going to be out of the business, because that's what guides a business moving forward.
Okay, so thank you for all these point of views on strategy. I think we now know that strategy is still essential for the success of any business right now. I know that you're also involved with the money game mindset.
Yeah.
Could you elaborate a bit about on that topic? So, what is money game mindset? Why it's important for the company?
So there are many people who starting out in business, right? They have this idea: I want to start a business, and I'm gonna be rich. right? It's my perfect idea. I'm going to do maybe the things that other people do because I see it on social media that it's going to make me a millionaire. So the idea of, being a millionaire, but usually what we perceive out there, it's totally different in work. Because when you start your journey in entrepreneurship, you will be faced with so many emotions, so many beliefs, right? It's all these things are going to come up that you have to work through. You have to have dedication, commitment. You have to take action. You have to have vision for the company. You have to have a lot of things, and because a lot of factors contribute to success. So that was actually the base of the money game mindset, is to how to improve your mindset in order to achieve higher level of success.
And what is the best advice how to improve? Where should an average person that is thinking of starting a business start improving their mindset? What is the first thing that they have to do or take care of?
Take action, because after some while, you will realize that you will start thinking more. You're gonna stop. You're gonna search for confidence without actually going out and doing the things. I mean, this is what I see with the majority of people. So my first advice would be just take action, because many people are just stop and thinking.
So would you agree that done is better than perfect in entrepreneurship?
Absolutely.
Okay. And what is the next thing that we'll take? Now they're action oriented. What is the next thing they need to start working on in order to be successful?
To connect deeply with the vision. It takes time. For some people, it takes more time. Maybe you just have an idea, starting a business or launching a new product. But in order to actually succeed and stay in the marketplace, you have to have a vision about why you are there. What change do you want to make, or do you want to contribute to?
Who can help entrepreneurs with the vision? How can they get good at it? Because a vision and the vision can be two different things. And one vision can be really beneficial, and another vision might be a complete delusion. How should entrepreneur know if their vision is adequate and if this vision will help them solve their problems in their business?
The very first question would be, why did you start in the first place? What's your reason? And because we all have a reason why we started it. Some people see that they want to change other people's life, or maybe you saw a problem on the marketplace that you cannot bear with it. So that's your reason to change it. So you can always go back to the question, what is your actual reason? Why did you start it? To develop that, how bad do you want it? Because if it's something just nice to have, then it's not going to drive you forward.
Okay. And what is your take on the mistakes? Because in business, mistakes are inevitable. And it's important that we make so many small mistakes that we can survive, because big mistakes could be lethal for the business and could end the business. So what's your take on the mistakes? How should the mindset be set in regards to the mistakes that we will inevitably make in the business?
So this part might be harder for analytical minds because they are very perfectionist, right? We try to avoid mistakes, to make things perfect, and to just be out there when it's perfect, and then we are ready to do that. So, but mistakes are very important. In strategy, that's why you would use strategy to try to avoid cost that and services that's not going to serve you, because there are, for example, so many marketing agencies that's not actually going to provide the results you are looking for. So when you look at things in a way that you are just starting out, do mistakes. Just go for it. Just take action. Because that's the thing that you need to learn about, how to be committed to your business constantly. you have to be committed.
Okay, thank you. And why is there a money game mindset? What is the game? What does the game stands for in this money game mindset?
So when I was growing up, my grandmother always said, like, we just live in a theater, like every single people. And when you are growing up, you really realize that it's all a lie. Like, you just grew up in a lie. So, but the deep connection with it is actually that, as much as you learn about the truth because you dare to go towards we are all just playing a game. So it's not in a manipulative way as a game, but when you are doing business, it's a game, right? It's not. I don't mean it in a negative way. That when you are just ripping off people or once you manipulate people, but if actually many people have a very hard time connecting with business, they either had very bad experiences or they find it very stressful to just simply interact with people. And the game is, when you look at it more like a playful way, then it becomes much easier because just reaching out to people, it doesn't have to be hard. We put all this pressure on ourselves, so there is more to the game part.
What game would you use as an analogy to business? Is there a sports? Is there other games that what would you say that which game is most like business?
I was not thinking about that if it would be any sports game. So you really made me think right now. I like that question.
But what sports would you pick if you say what sport is most like business?
Well, now my analytical mind kicked in that it might take a little bit more time to answer.
We're in no hurry.
That I feel more confident to say. Well, what's interesting that business, it's very speedy, right? Like money loves speed. Like if you see the economy, it's constantly changing. Like just simply the currency is changing day by day. So if you want to connect it to a game, it would be very hard. So maybe I would go to the opposite side into connected towards strategy, maybe like golf, which is totally the opposite what business would be. But when you look at it from the strategic standpoint, you want to be a little bit more, you want to calculate in terms of strategy.
So it's an individual sport that requires a lot of precision and also a lot of patience.
Yeah. All entrepreneurs feel lonely. So when you are starting out, you feel lonely. You don't feel, it's very hard to find your community. A lot of people I meet feel it's very hard when you are the one person in your family who's actually starting a business because you have no one around you who you could talk to. So it can feel like that. Absolutely.
Okay, how important are networking events for business people?
Oh, it's absolutely important. I love them.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to take from this interview? Do you have any tips or tricks of the trade that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Visibility is very important. If you want to, that's why networking events are also very great. If you go out there and try to connect with people, you try to find more people who you can actually help to, it's going to help you in the long run to succeed.
Thank you. I will put the links to your webpage and wherever the people can reach you in the description below. And thank you, Ramona, for being my guest tonight.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you, Mr. Faleskini, for this outstanding podcast. And thank you for listening to the Ask Faleskini podcast until the end. Mr. Faleskini would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And don't forget, if you want to know, ask Faleskini or listen to the Ask Faleskini podcast. In order to please the almighty algorithm, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.